Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for guitarlessons365.com. Have a fantastic song for you today. We're going to learn how to play Mayonnaise by Smashing Pumpkins off the Siamese Dream album. So this one is a definite two-guitar song. We have two guitars that are in completely different tunings. So I'm going to start here in video one, because I'm going to split this up in a couple of videos because there's a lot going on. Video one is going to be James Iha's guitar parts. So he's the one that originally wrote the chord progression under this, and he used a very whacked out tuning to do it. Now I'm going to take you through the tuning real quick for this video. So this is going to be an E flat. So you're going to take the low E string down to an E flat. Then you're going to take the A string and you're going to raise it a half step to B flat. So you're going to raise that, and then the D string, you're going to lower that to a B flat so that the A and the D string now sound the same. They're in unison. Then the G string going to be tuned down to G flat, B string down to B flat, and the E string is tuned down to a D. So that, all in all, is an E minor major 7 open tuning. Doesn't sound that great when you do it like that, but they make a really beautiful song out of it. All right, so that is just going to be James Iha's parts. Billy Corgan's parts are just a straight E flat tuning, so a flat across the board. So it's a lot more standard tuning there. But that'll be in video 2, where we'll cover all of his solos, as well as his rhythm guitar parts, which are a lot more basic, the rhythm guitar parts. The rhythm parts in this one are really the ones that make the song, those chord voicings sound like the actual album. So it's probably more important to get these down first. So get into this tuning here, and we're going to start with this really cool intro. Now, by the way, this clean tone, I basically have like a nice little clean amp setting, and then I'm in front of it. I have a phaser pedal. Now he used a Electro-Harmonix small stone phaser. I don't have one of those. So in this, my Line 6 Helix, I have a phase 90 pedal up in front of it. What's kind of a light, really light phasing setting. So we get it. You can kind of hear it coming in and out. It's not real heavy. All right, so let's take a look at this part. We're going to start with the, now I'm just going to call it the A string, even though we know it's a B flat string now, just since we're all used to this being an A string. We're going to start with an open A, then we're going to have the 7th fret on the D and 6th fret on the G, and then back to the 7th fret on the D. So those 4, just let them all ring out. Then go to the high E string and pick straight across all the way to the D. So with this all together. Repeat. So after you've done that picking pattern twice on that chord, we're going to go to this. So that's going to be the 2nd fret on the A string to the 1st fret on the G string, to the open B, and back to the 1st fret on the G. So like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place the 3rd fret, our pinky down on the 3rd fret on the high E string, pick that note, then pick the G string again, which is still holding at the 1st fret, and then lift up that note on the high E string to the open high E string, then the open B. So all together. So you just do that once. Then you're going to jump up to here. We're going to have the 5th fret there on the D string and the 4th fret on the G. And then the open high E string to the open B. So that's the first 4 there. So then you're going to place the next 4 notes. You're going to have the 3rd fret here on the high E, over to the G string, then the open high E and the open B again. So we have this. So all together, this first part's done twice. And repeat everything. All right, so Billy Corgan's playing a solo over that, which we'll cover at the beginning of the second lesson for this. All right, so from here, when you have that open E and B, that gives you time to shift up here to... Now this chord form is the most used chord form in the song. It's probably a big reason he's using this tuning is so you can have this nice, it makes it easy to have a kind of a bit minor add 9 sound or just an add 9 sound going on through a lot of the song. So this is the 9th fret on the low E, 9th fret on the A, and then the 8th fret there on the G. And depending on where he's at on the fretboard, he lets some of the strings ring around it, and sometimes he doesn't. You just hear these 3, and he mutes those open strings. The one you got to really watch out for is that D string in there. So you really want to mute that most of the time. So it sounds good having those open high E and B strings in there, and then move up everything 3 frets. And then move back down. And back up. So that right there is pretty much the end of the intro. Because from here we get to what is basically just the verse riff, which looks like this. Same chord form now, but it's played with the 7th fret there on the low E and the A, with the 6th fret on the G. So Corgan comes in there, a little bit through that with some distorted kind of, that's where they really kick in there. So I didn't switch it to distortion yet because I really wanted you to hear the notes, because when you kick the gain in and that fuzz pedal kicks in, it really kind of drowns out a lot of the actual chords themselves. So obviously in that part, he went into a heavier tone, but we'll work on that in a second. So we're just starting here. Now the strumming pattern here is very upbeat. They're accenting a lot of the upbeats. So you start at normal, then up, 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 up. Remember, just keep this feel going, but just up, 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 and here you're just gonna have the low E. You just took that down from the 7th fret there, on the low E, down to the 4th fret on the low E. Just drag the whole chord there. So it's gonna be the 3rd fret on the G. Then the open bottom 3 strings will be open with the 4th fret there on the G. And then jump this up and just go 8, 9, 8 on the G string. Then back down to 4, then back 8, 9, 8. Repeat. And then the last time you always hear play that normal, both of them there at the 8, 9, 8, and then the second time through it, you'll hear them go 8, 9, 8, and then jump up 13, 14, 13 on the G. All right, so that's just the very top part of that melody. When obviously the part that Billy Corgan's playing makes that come out a lot more. It's a big octave, so we'll be getting to that. So with the distortion here, you can really see how this sounds. All right, so you kind of get a good idea that. So for the distortion sound here, he used a Marshall JCM 800. So that was kind of his sound, not really set to this drenched gain or anything, just kind of a moderate drive setting. And then he threw a fuzz face pedal in front of it. So the fuzz face is the bigger part of the sound. So that's how you get that really, intense distortion out of it. That sounds pretty crazy when it's all kind of layered together. So anyway, at the 1 minute and 45 second mark, we have a new riff. Looks like this. All right, so once again, I know the tone is crazy, but that's what it sounds like. So let's start now. I'm just gonna call it the frets on the low E string because it's the same chord shape. So it's now taking that same shape and moving it to the 9th fret. Then down to 5, and then that open chord. Remember with the bottom 3 strings open and the 4th fret there on the G. So that's 9. So, and then he goes to the 2nd fret. Now, really here, he doesn't have that note on top very much. So it's just the bottom 2 strings, the 2nd fret off the low E and the A. And then up to 4, and then that 0 chord again. Now repeat the 2 to 4, and then go up and play that full chord. There at the 5th fret there. Obviously it's the 4th fret on the G there. So all together. All right, so from there we just repeat the verse again the same way we did it the first time. And then at the 2 minute and 37-second mark, we have what I call kind of just a verse variation. All right, and it sounds like this. All right, so now you hear a big squeal in that, and that is the product of Billy Corgan's guitar he said he had at the time. It was a really cheap guitar, probably had like pickups that were like microphonic or whatever. So whenever he just stopped playing at all, just make that crazy squeal sound, and he just made it part of the track. So I can't recreate that because this ain't a cheap guitar, man. So anyway, we're gonna start here. It's just the same riff as the verse. 7th fret there on the low E string down, that same chord shape down to 4. And then when you get to that open E chord, hit it, then mute it once, and then hit it again. And then hit again, mute, and strum it. Repeat. All right, then we get to the solo. The guitar solo comes out of that, which is at the 3 minute, I think it says 3 minute 4 second or something like that. And it starts with that 0 chord. And when they get to the 7th fret, that's really the beginning of the solo riff itself. So it sounds like this. All right, so it's pretty much just a lot of the same chord shape again till the very end. So we're going to start with kind of that zero chord, you can call it. And then you're going to start with the same chord that we're doing, the 7th fret off the low E. Back to the zero chord. Back to the 7. Up to the 9 now. Back to the zero chord. So all together so far. And we're going to end it here just playing the 5th fret and really focus now on the low 2 strings, not really the note on the G string, just the 5 on the low E and the A, a couple times, then 4th fret, and then 2. Kind of let that ring out, and then we have an acoustic section that's basically an acoustic version of the verse for the most part. All right, so at the very end, we kicked in the distortion. We did this little build up here on the open chord, and then we did a little melody line going up. All right, so we're gonna start here with just, it's the same, it's an acoustic guitar. The same as a verse. So everything's the same the first time way through, and the second time through, we have this. And then you kick in the distortion. Just kind of just downstrokes. And then it has a melody that just goes 5, 7, 9, 10 on the A string. And then we go back from there, we go to the, where are we at? Oh, we go to this verse variation here again, another one. It sounds like this. All right, so that's just like the verse variation riff we did earlier in the song where we had those stops and those little guitar squeals in there. You do it the exact same way except for the very last chord. Instead of just continuing with the open chord, you add that 5th fret chord there of that same chord shape that we're used to. All right, and then basically at the 4-minute and 20-second mark, we go back to the same thing that we just played by the acoustic by itself, which is that same kind of, we're just, actually it's kind of the same thing, we're just letting it all ring. You're not doing that little variation. And then there's that little same melody that we did before. So it's just kind of the same chords, you're just kind of laying back and not pausing on any of them. And then at the very end of the song, we have the, well, not the very end, the last distorted riff. 4 minutes and 49 seconds in, we have this. That pause riff. All right, so that is basically just like that verse variation riff. The first time through, 7, 4, 0, and 5. Still doing that little rhythm to it though. And then the second one, just 7, 4, 0, 0. All right, so out of that, we're back to the clean setting, and he plays the exact same part that he does in the intro, the cool little arpeggiated clean stuff, while Billy Corgan does an outro solo over it. All right, so in the next video, we're going to take care of all of Billy Corgan's guitar parts, more simplified rhythm parts, but some cool solos there as well. I'll see you there.